Yo, 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 what's up? What's up? All right, hello, everybody. My name is Michael Music. Uh, so I am moving on from last week. Uh, Basically, we read Organized Planning last week, and we did uh, kind of go over a lot of like the list in Organized Planning. It had, for example, the 10 major attributes of leadership. It had the 10 major reasons for failure in leadership. We also did the 30 major causes of failure. And finally, we wrapped up organized planning with um, just like a self analysis examination. So I highly recommend that you go through the video on organized planning, check that out, or just read the book. I read it word for word for the self analysis. So um, that was some cool stuff. Now today we're gonna move on to decision, which is the seventh step toward riches. And I want to dedicate the whole week to decision. It may not take us an entire week to go through the book, but I want to talk about what it takes to make a decision. And before I get into this episode, I definitely want to say this is something I'm really looking to improve upon. So this is more so an open conversation I'm looking to have, and any feedback that any of you have learned is more than welcome. Okay, so we're gonna start by reading Decision, and it's cool because the first 4 pages of this chapter I think are so powerful, and I definitely am excited to go through them with you. So, what I want to do is get through 4 pages today, share my thoughts, share my questions, and then continue to further the conversation throughout the whole week. That's kind of what I'm hoping this week will look like. Now, let's get right into it. He says, accurate analysis of over 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure disclosed the fact that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 30 major causes of failure. Okay, so we talked about the 30 major causes of failure in organized planning, and he's saying that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 30 major causes of failure. What does that mean? It means most people that he examined, like this isn't a book on, just him hypothesizing things. He actually went out and found research, and one of the research was an analysis of 25,000 men and women. That was the pool of the research, and they said, yeah, like I haven't been able to make a decision. That was the reason they failed. And so that's what we're kind of diving into today. Now, he goes on to say this is no mere statement of theory, it is a fact. Okay, now procrastination, the opposite of decision, is a common enemy which practically every man must conquer. You will have an opportunity to test your capacity to reach quick and definite decisions when you finish reading this book and are ready to begin putting into action the principles which it describes. Okay, now get this. Analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing these decisions slowly if and when they were changed. People who fail to accumulate money, without exception, have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly and changing these decisions quickly and often. Wow. I'm going to pause, reread that statement. I think that possibly could be one of the greatest sentences in this book. It just, I'm not saying I'm the best at making decisions. I'm looking to improve and get better on it. But understand that Napoleon Hill spent 20 years of his life researching 500 of 500 of the world's wealthiest men, right? 500. So he's saying that he analyzed several hundred of these people who had accumulated fortunes, right? He had went out and done his own research on that, and he says that they disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing these decisions slowly if and when they were changed. So I want to pause there. Now this is something I have to be asking myself, but the question is like, do you know what it is that you want? Because what it is that what why is the reason that people make decisions so fast when they know what they want, right? When you know what it is that you want, you make decisions slowly or fastly, right? Like you understand, like, okay, this is where I'm going. I'm gonna do what it takes to get there. Now this is like I don't have time to sit around and bluff about this. It's very interesting. So he says people who fail to accumulate money without exception have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly and of changing these decisions quickly and often. So the question I need to be asking myself is, am I going back on my decisions? Am I staying committed to what I decided to do? I have a habit of saying I'm going to do this, and I say it very loudly. But the question is like, am I sticking to my word? Right? Like, how important is my word? Am I just throwing out statements left and right, or am I throwing out statements left and right that I'm going to stick to and commit to? So this definitely hits deep this chapter for me. Okay. Furthermore, one of Henry Ford's most astounding qualities is his habit of reaching decisions quickly and definitely and of changing them slowly. This quality is so pronounced in Mr. Ford that has given him the reputation of being obstinate. It was this quality which prompted Mr. Ford to continue to manufacture his famous Model T, the world's ugliest car, when all of his advisors and many of the purchasers of the car were urging him to change it. All right, I'm going to fast forward. This was a story about Mr. Ford. Um, he's saying there is but little doubt that Mr. Ford's habit of definiteness of decision assumes the proportion of obstinacy, but this quality is preferable to slowness in reaching decisions and quickness in changing them. So Henry Ford, right? We all know Ford, the famous car brand, still around today. He was a man who made decisions. He knew what he wanted, and he wouldn't go back on those decisions that he made. Okay, now we're going to shift over to the idea of opinions and how do opinions influence our decisions. Hill says the majority of people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally and easily influenced by the opinions of others. The majority of people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs are generally easily influenced by the opinions of others. They permit the newspapers and the gossiping neighbors to do their thinking for them. Now, Hill says opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a flock of opinions ready to be wished upon anyone who will accept them. If you are influenced by opinions when you reach decisions, you will not succeed in any undertaking, much less of that transmuting your own desire into money. Okay, I want to pause there. Okay, so what is an opinion? I guess we should break it down. What is an opinion? right? It's a reaction. It's someone says a topic to you, you're like, oh, this. You didn't even give it that much thought. It was just throwing your initial reaction to that topic there. Now, why is this detrimental to listen to other people's opinions, especially people that are not in your mastermind group? Well, uh, at the end of the day, it hurts because you're giving someone else influence over the way that you're thinking. So, if we'll get to this furthermore, but understand that he says if you're influenced by decisions, or if you are influenced by opinions when you reach decisions, you will not succeed in any undertaking, much less that of transmuting your own desire into money. Right? So let's face it, we got a dream. I have a dream. Nobody else can see it but me and the people I share it with. But if I ask someone, what do you think about this idea that I have in my head, that I've been getting emotionally involved with, that I've been applying the principles in this chapter to, like, what do you think about this? And they say, oh, it's impossible. They didn't even give it thought. They saw from their world, oh, I'm not going for that. Why would Mike go for that? So opinions opinions are dangerous. I'll leave it at that. Now, furthermore, if you are influenced by the opinions of others, you will have no desire of your own. If you are influenced by the opinions of others, you will have no desire of your own. So, is the thing that you truly want, that you say you truly want, is that is that seriously what it is that you want, or is that what other people want for you, and then it has clouded up your mind? Now, keep your own counsel when you begin to put into practice the principles described here. By reaching your own decisions and following them, take no one into your confidence except except the members of your mastermind group. And be very sure in your selection of this group that you can choose only those who will be in complete sympathy and harmony with your purpose. So this is why it's so important to have a mastermind group, because you're surrounded with people who are in complete sympathy and harmony with your purpose. It all goes back to your definite major purpose. And if you're having outsiders influence your thinking, they may not be in harmony with your purpose. They may want something else for you, and it's not the thing that you truly want to achieve or to get in your life. So it's very interesting, especially the mastermind principle, how important it comes into making decisions. Now, this is interesting. He says close friends and relatives, while not meaning to do so, often handicap one through opinions and sometimes through ridicule, which is meant to be humorous. Thousands of men and women carry inferiority complexes with them all through life because some well meaning but ignorant person destroy their confidence through opinions or ridicule. So, has there been a friend that you knew growing up, you told them what it is that you were going to do, and they kind of put you down for it, to say the least? Right? They gave them opinion. They heard a topic, didn't even give it much thought, knew little about it, said something back to you that was negative, and it really discouraged you. Has that happened to you before? So what he's saying is, like, yeah, they're not meaning to put a damper on your dreams. They just give opinions and sometimes ridicule, just to try to be funny about some situations that you might bring up. I definitely have had that happen before, and it was important to separate for me who were my friends that I did enjoy being around and having a good time with, but who also was in my mastermind that I am telling, like, okay, this is my purpose. This is what I want from life. This is where I'm going, and can you help me out with this? Right? I'm not asking my friends the same questions as my mastermind group, to say the least. Now he says, you have a brain and mind of your own. Use it and reach your own decisions. Okay, so check this out. If you need facts or information from other people to enable you to reach decisions, as you probably will in many instances, acquire these facts or secure the information you need quietly without disclosing your purpose. So, why does he say to keep your purpose to yourself, to keep it hidden? Why not tell everyone what it is that your purpose is in life? Because what are people going to do? Well, that doesn't make sense to them. That's not their purpose. They're going to want to impress their purpose on you. And it's going to do one thing or two things, right? It's either going to encourage you or discourage you. And so you can't risk, like, the fact that most people are going to end up discouraging you. You can't risk letting them know what it is your purpose, because you don't want them to discourage you, because at the end of the day, your purpose is your purpose. And the thing that I truly think that I am lacking in my purpose is just the self-confidence and belief to truly go out and do it. So am I going to go around town to my neighbors who I don't even like and tell them what it is about, tell them my purpose, what I'm going to do, just so that I can give them the chance to be like, oh, no, that's impossible. So he's saying gather the facts and information you need to help get you further along in your journey, but don't disclose the purpose of why you need that. Now, he says, it is characteristic of people who have but a smattering or a veneer of knowledge to try to give the impression that they have much knowledge. Such people generally do too much talking and too little listening. Keep your eyes and ears wide open, your mouth closed, if you wish to acquire the habit of prompt decision. Those who talk too much do little else. Now, very key here. If you talk more than you listen, you not only deprive yourself of many opportunities to accumulate useful knowledge, but you also disclose your plans and purpose to people who will take great delight in defeating you because they envy you. All right, so what's the difference between the talker and the listener? The talker, he will say a bunch of things, and that will basically give the audience a general idea of, okay, like, this is kind of where this guy is at. This is where his general knowledge is at. I understand how smart he is and what he's thinking about. But understand, like, everyone's looking to get rich. And we'll talk about this in the next few paragraphs, but everyone's looking to get rich. And if you're going to tell me all your plans to get rich, and I think they're actually good plans, like, I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but others will be like, all right, like, why not I just do it? Like, screw this guy. Like, I want to get rich too. That's what they might say. So why is it so important to become an active listener? Like, why is it important to listen more than you talk? Right? Because there may be opportunities all around you, but the fact that is that you aren't listening or paying attention to them when they do show up in conversation. Hill says, remember also that every time you open your mouth in the presence of a person who has an abundance of knowledge, you display to that person your exact stock of knowledge or your lack of it. He says, genuine wisdom is usually conspicuous through modesty and silence. So are you displaying to others that you do have genuine wisdom, and how are you going about that? Right? Do you need to tell the world that you have wisdom, or can you do what we'll talk about in a little bit? Can you show the world that you have wisdom? That's an interesting one. He says, keep in mind the fact that every person with whom you associate is, like yourself, seeking the opportunity to accumulate money. If you talk about your plans too freely, you may be surprised when you learn that some other person has beaten you to your goal by putting into action ahead of you the plans of which you talked unwisely. Right? So, one reason to not disclose your plans and purpose to people is because they may take your plans and purpose, right? It's much better to show them the end result, like, hey, this is what I did. Here I am right now, than to be like, this is what I'm going to do. That's for the people that you're going to tell, this is what I'm going to do. That's for the people in your mastermind group that are there to truly help you out and not just put you down, and make fun of what it is that your purpose is. Now he says, one of your first decisions let one of your first decisions be to keep a closed mouth and open ears and eyes. Right? I think that's a great first decision to make. Keep a closed mouth and open ears and eyes. As a reminder to yourself to follow this advice, it will be helpful if you copy the following epigram in large letters and place it where you will see it daily. Tell the world what you intend to do, but first show it. This is the equivalent of saying that deeds and not words are what count most. All right. So, what's up, Facebook and YouTube and all of those who are watching, wherever you're watching it from? This was serious stuff, right? I want to first ask you, like, what did you learn? What did you like of the first 4 pages of decision? Right? Did any of these statements or questions hit you differently, make you think about things differently? And I'll be pretty vulnerable here. I personally have been struggling making this serious decision to go in all in on my dreams. I've been telling people what I'm going to do. I've been saying I can do this, this, and that. And I've been having a loud mouth. And what that's been doing was making it much harder for me to find peace in the fact, like, okay, this is what I've done, and I'm gonna keep going every single day. Like, one thing about the live streams that I was pretty proud about was I'm not really telling all my friends that I'm gonna go live for X amount of episodes and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna start a whole group and spread the message of Think and Grow Rich. But I was proud about the fact that I just did it, and here I am right now at 65 episodes, while most people aren't even starting. So there's definitely some ways that I'm growing from this chapter, making decisions. But I found personally, just in my life experience, that telling a ton of people of what I'm going to do only made doing that thing much more stressful and not as fun as I originally thought when I first came up with the idea and I made this decision personally to go through with it. And then another thing, uh, the idea of committing to decisions. So this is something I definitely am looking to have a further discussion throughout this whole week on what is a committed decision and why is it so important to stick to the decisions that you make. Because I, for one, have been going back on certain decisions that I've made, and I understand that it's just causing an internal struggle within. And is this how I really want to live my life? Right? Like, I want the thing that this decision will get me, but am I willing to make this decision every single day and go for the thing that I decided I would say I would do? Or is it like, what's the difference between decision and wishful thinking? So these are some thoughts that I definitely am looking to have throughout the week this week. We're going to spend the week talking about decision. There is more to the chapter, but the first 4 pages are really good content. So I wanted to leave it at that today. If you got any ideas on what this making decisions means to you, I'd love for you to share it with me in the comments or in the chat, and I'll wrap the episode up here. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching and listening and studying with me this great book, Think and Grow Rich. I truly find this to be a super powerful philosophy and something that I am personally looking to master, and I want to prove that it does work. So yeah, once again, thank you all for watching. I will leave you with this until we meet again in time and space. Peace out, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.